YouTube, this is the big video. These are the top 100 new features and changes in iOS 13. So let's not waste too much time and get directly into things, but before we do, definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, here we go guys, top 100 list. So let's start off with the obvious dark mode. Now it can be toggled on directly from the control center. You can toggle it right here, change the appearance from light to dark. And as you guys can see, the wallpaper has changed. The widgets are now dark. Of course, folders are dark, notifications, if I had any, as well as the lock screen wallpaper, but also every single stock application also has a dark mode, settings, messages, photos, calendar, all that jazz. Now, light and dark mode can be toggled directly within the settings app, but the coolest part here is you can set this to automatic, to light until sunrise, or a custom schedule. Now, along with the default wallpaper we saw in the presentation, there's actually 4 other variants. We have a blue variant, this green one, and a regular black and white one. But my favorite part is when you use a generic wallpaper, you can select this option right here where dark appearance will dim the wallpaper. So it looks something like this. This is light mode, and this is dark mode. Now, along with stock application, there's a dark mode API that lets third-party developers bring dark mode to all of your favorite applications. So that's dark mode in a nutshell. Let's move on to some other UI changes. Now, first up is the brand new volume HUD. It looks something like that. It immediately pops up and looks something like what it is in the control center, just like that, but then it fades away into this sleek little volume HUD right here. And it also looks pretty sweet in landscape mode, something like that. There is a redesigned share sheet that looks something like that, where AirPlay devices appear here, but as you guys can see, looks way different and has a lot more settings to choose from. So this was a new one that I discovered. When you're in the connectivity platter within the control center, if you actually haptic touch on Wi-Fi, you can quickly select a Wi-Fi network, or you can go directly into the Wi-Fi settings. And of course, same thing goes for Bluetooth. There's new annotation tools on both iOS 13 and iPadOS, but we'll get into that a little bit later in this video. Widgets as well as notifications have a minor UI adjustment, just a little bit flatter. There's no header change right here, and also on widgets, now there's this nice little chevron right here instead of the show more, show less. We have new composition options, starting with the keyboard. You can actually swipe to type now, so just let's take a look at this. So if I go T-O-N-Y, I can swipe to spell my name, something like that. You can also select in a different way, just basically tap and drag immediately and it selects it. And then you also have a new kind of gesture to copy and paste. Basically, it's like you're picking up a 3-finger grab, it says copy right there at the very top, and then you can do 3 fingers to the left to actually either undo or cut, and then you can just kind of drop your text back on with a 3-finger spread. And again, it said paste at the very top. And the only other place I've seen that new animation at the very top is actually with your mute switch right here. So if I toggle on mute or silent mode off, there you can see it looks something like that. And again, when you toggle it on, just a nice indication. So when going into the music platter, there's a new icon here at the very top, minor but interesting. And the last major UI changes that I really wanted to talk about was under accessibility. So most notably from the keynote, there's incredible ways to control your phone entirely with voice now, but some actual useful features for the everyday user here as well. You can have haptic feedback upon successful authentication with Face ID, so every time you unlock your device, you get some nice feedback. I really like this one. You can bold text without having to restart your phone. And then there's this option to type with Siri. So when you toggle Siri, you can actually type directly to her. There is a boatload of new keyboard shortcuts or key commands to control your iOS device, but here is the big one, guys. There is now dedicated mouse support for both iPhones and iPads. So next category, let's talk about some speed improvements and useful new features. iOS 13 adds a 30% faster Face ID unlock, 2 times faster app launching, and 60% smaller application as well as iOS updates. In the future, we'll have the ability to use Xbox One S as well as PS4 controllers on dedicated games on iOS. I thought this one was pretty interesting right here. This feature, which is optimized battery charging, reduces battery aging. It basically learns your daily charging habits so it can wait to finish charging past 80% until you really need to use it. Now, once iOS 13 is finalized, we'll have the ability to sign in with Apple. This replaces the need for Facebook and Google sign-in, and their big selling point here is it's super secure. Apple's going to use an anonymous burner email that can later be deleted if you want to stop using the app. Now, two-step verification is built in with sign-in as well, and an interesting feature I found in my last video is your Apple ID on your iPhone can only be changed every 90 days. Along with all of these features, Location Services offers better control over which apps use what data to determine your location too. So let's talk about Siri. Now, the big feature here is Siri has a brand new voice to sound more natural and lifelike using neural text-to-speech technology.
A state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cooled ideal gas reach their minimum value, taken as 0. A state at which the enthalpy and entropy of a cooled ideal gas reach their minimum value, taken as 0.
And there's now Siri Kit for audio. Siri can now play music, podcasts, audiobooks, etc. with third-party apps, hopefully Spotify. Also, if you have AirPods, Siri will now automatically announce and read messages aloud on said AirPods, so you'll hear the message and you'll be able to reply without ever touching your AirPods or your phone. Also, speaking of AirPods, an awesome feature here is you'll be able to share your audio connection to another set of AirPods, which will be awesome for car or plane rides. So here is one of the biggest categories. We're going to talk about some application updates, and pretty much every stock iOS application has been modified in some way or another. Here are some of my favorite changes with some of the best apps. So first up, the Messages app has a brand new interface. There's also the ability to create your own profile with your contact information as well as a profile picture. And the really cool thing is you have the ability to share that information with anybody you're messaging. And now when you're in the info section under a message thread, now it separates it into photos, videos, and links so you can get to what you're looking for a little bit quicker. Very lastly, while we're here, there's 3 new Animojis being the mouse, octopus, and cow. Also, as you guys might see right below, there's Memoji stickers now. And now there's the ability for non-Face ID devices to create Memojis and use this built-in stickers feature. So the Maps app has also been redesigned. A major update is being pushed by the end of 2019, which adjusts the look of this. There is a new favorites section, there's a new collections section, which you can actually share with friends and family, as well as the recently viewed. There is a new street view, kind of like Google Maps, now in native Apple Maps called Look Around. There's a new junction view which helps drivers eliminate wrong turns and directional misses by lining them up with the correct lane before they need to turn or enter an elevated road. Also, there's improved Siri guidance to help this too. Maps also has real-time transit, and the place cards are more helpful and easier to use with dynamically updated information for things like Today at Apple and Apple Store locations, movie theater time listings, and more. The list goes on. The Reminders app has also been drastically redesigned. Now there's new smart lists here at the top to organize them by today, scheduled, and flagged. There's also this new suggestive toolbar right here above predicted text to help you quickly create reminders, adding times, location, photos, and flagging certain things. There's actually a new portrait mode called High Key Mono, which either isn't coming to the iPhone XR or hasn't been implemented in an iOS 13 beta yet. But really where this comes to shine is with the new enhanced portrait lighting control for portrait photos. So next up, the entire Photos application has been redesigned and it just looks fantastic in landscape. But it now has curated years, months, days, and then you can go to all photos. And this is now right here on the menu bar and entirely replaces the camera roll. So there's no longer that default album right here. It just jumps straight to your favorites. And this was basically just to reduce the clutter on the home page of the Photos app. Now, the photos that are selected here are contextual based around what date you took them. So say if it was my birthday or my girlfriend's birthday, they would all be pictures of her or me on those days. And one more thing worth noting, when you're in the years, months, or days section, videos will automatically play so you can see your content more easily. But overall, it just looks absolutely incredible. There's a new user interface for editing photos. You can actually flip and rotate videos now directly within iOS. And search also received a major update as well. It now uses advanced machine learning when you're searching for content. So moving on to Safari, we also have some major updates here. We now have a favorite section. There's also Siri suggestions, as well as frequently visited sites. Now, when you're on a website, if you click this button right up here, you can adjust some settings really quickly, like defaulting to the desktop website. And another quick thing, you can adjust the size of the website now directly within Safari, kind of like how you would on a computer. There is now a download manager within Safari on both iOS and iPadOS, so you can download ridiculously large files, and they're all right here, and it looks something like that. Within Mail, we have a little bit of a redesign here, but my favorite part is on the toolbar, you have a bunch of new editing tools just like that. Apple Music is getting closer to Spotify, where you can see what your friends are listening to. There's a bit of a redesign here, but the really cool thing is now you can see the lyrics of the song while you're listening to it. This is kind of a ridiculous song to do that to. You can also use this button right here to see which songs are coming up next. So like I said, pretty much every application got a ton of updates, and we won't have time to cover every single little one, but Health got some major updates right here. The App Store now includes an arcade menu button on the navigation bar. And now Siri Shortcuts comes pre-installed. We also have a brand new Find My application, which combines Find My iPhone as well as Find My Friends. I would definitely check to turn this option off if you don't want to share your location by default. Anyway, those are some of the major new updates to iOS. We're going to loop back to some more Surface updates at the very end, but let's take a look at how this looks on iPads. Now, iPads technically have their own OS now called iPadOS, but it's built on the foundation of iOS. So you can expect all of these new features in iOS to come to iPadOS and a few more like these. Widgets are now on the home screen in portrait mode when you swipe over or by swiping in landscape. There's more icons on the iPad now. Again, there's a mouse support like we talked about before. iPads also have the ability to connect to a USB flash drive via a dongle. There's a bunch of new Apple Pencil tools. The first one, you can quick capture with Apple Pencil on iOS 13 by swiping up from the corner of the display. With the pencil, you can actually capture entire websites, so like a giant screenshot, just by flicking up from the bottom of the display. There's also font management, where you can install fonts to use in documents. That feature is actually on iOS as well. And same with this one, I guess. Now there's actually a scroll bar for scrubbing, so you can quickly jump down to the place you need to be. So for the last category of this video, we're going to be talking about HomeKit, Siri Shortcuts, CarPlay, and ARKit. So starting off with HomeKit, now there are security cameras with a built-in HomeKit option. So all of that data is not being sent to third parties, it's being sent securely and encrypted to Apple, and only your Apple ID has the key to access that information. Continuing along the lines of security, there's now routers that are going to be HomeKit supported. HomeKit overall has improved accessory control. AirPlay 2 speakers now work in scenes with automation. There's HomePod handoff, where you can send music or calls directly from your phone or iPad to your HomePod just by walking up next to it. And a nice Siri feature extends to the HomePod, where it can now learn family members based off their voices, and so you can have a personalized response depending on who's talking to the HomePod. So jumping back to Siri Shortcuts real fast, now there's automations right here, so you can have things automatically happen. Like I said earlier in this video, Siri Shortcuts is now built in by default. It comes pre-installed. Now you can get great recommendations for Siri Shortcuts based on machine learning. It adapts to your habits and suggests different ones that you might like. And looping back to automation real fast, I guess the big key selling point here was you can use this directly with HomeKit and the Home application to set custom automations for your home, such as closing the blinds or turning off the lights. So let's talk about CarPlay next. There's an all-new dashboard redesign layout here. It's now more simplified, focusing on the road ahead. There's a new calendar app so you can view the whole day while you're on the go. It allows you to tap to get directions or call into a meeting at a designated time. And the new Apple Music interface on CarPlay with the album art in the front and center looks awesome. Very lastly, touching on ARKit, now you can place objects in front or behind human subjects. So just major improvements all around for the entire OS, for developers, for everyday users with the UI, to just making things simpler and cleaner to use. There are major performance and stability updates. Pretty much every application launches faster and has been redesigned to some extent, adding some new features. Dark mode was implemented perfectly. This new volume HUD looks absolutely fantastic, and there's just a bunch of crazy unique features, advanced features for CarPlay, for HomeKit, all around an absolutely incredible update by Apple. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, taking a look at literally the top 100 plus new features on iOS 13. This took a long time to make. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely subscribe if you loved it. And again, stay tuned for more awesome content. If you guys want to check out iOS 13 for yourselves, hands-on, we have a dedicated download tutorial where you can download it entirely for free. Anyway, guys, like I said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the incredible support of reaching 900,000 subscribers. I cannot believe we're here, guys. We're only 100,000 away from a million, but seriously, thank you all so much. Anyway, I hope to see everyone real soon, but until next time, this is Tony, signing out.